Sean Sewell, Engearment.com. I got a fun comparison between three different kinds of home cameras. With this one we're shooting with right now is the Insta360 Link camera right here. And then I'll have my Apple Studio display, which is a very common display and common webcam. And then I'm going to compare it to a Sony Mirrorless camera, which is what I usually use, as well as microphone-wise, we're using the onboard microphone right there on the Insta360 Link at the moment. As you can see, the red light is blinking on the Shure microphone that I usually use. And when we're getting really serious, we go with our Shure SM7B, but that is not being used right now. So in this video, I will go over this camera, this audio, the gimbal, a few basic functions compared to the Apple Studio Display webcam, as well as, like I said, a Sony mirrorless camera that I would usually use with one of these microphones for the podcast or for YouTube videos. A lot to cover here, so let's get into it. First, we'll start with a little bit of background. The reason I'm shooting this video is as much to help my teammates out as it is to help you out. I've been trying to figure out what is the best webcam for presenting for people in my shoes. And what I mean by my shoes is people who are presenting at home to a client or to students or to anybody for that matter. In particular, what was important to me was how would it track when I go to demonstrate exercises. One of the things I do is I coach, and so I'm constantly moving around. And that's why I got this camera. So I know that that function exists on iPads and MacBooks and the Mac Studio to a certain degree. And I found limitations on that right away. And so I have invested in multiple camera angles with 810 mini switches and a lot of elaborate things. May not be elaborate to some video professionals, but it's pretty elaborate to the average person. It's a pretty significant investment of resources and time to learn how to use it. I am coming from a background of just wanting to present things as best as possible. Now, background on the technology we're currently using. We are just using the Insta360 Link webcam. We're recording this all through Zoom. So this is not the best quality that this camera can do, but this is the best quality this camera can offer within Zoom. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to show this camera and the audio and the other cameras and audios in a real world situation that you're probably going to encounter. You're probably looking to increase your quality of video, increase your quality of audio to present yourself in the best way possible. And I applaud you for that. I hope this video really, really helps. So again, the audio is set to automatic adjust for microphone volume using the microphones on this camera. So I'm going to get up and we'll walk away and we'll see how it sounds when I walk away. All right, now I'm up, I'm walking, the camera's still tracking me, and you can see why I like this camera so much because it helps me when I'm trying to coach. I even go to the ground, which is a huge thing for me. I go to the ground and demonstrate things like a plank, or a hollow hold, or something like that. So if you saw that, it probably just blew your mind. It's a whole lot better than what's capable on the iPad or the MacBook, and I'll show you what I mean. So again, this is the Link camera right here. I will switch over the video to the Studio Display camera. Okay, pretty cool. It does a similar thing. It tracks my face, right? Come on, track my face. There it goes. It's not as quick, obviously, as the other one. Let me get this microphone out of the way so it doesn't think we're tracking that. Get this microphone out of the way because we're not using that. So now let's focus on me, right? So sometimes it kind of adjusts in and out like this. Now I really want it to track me as I go over here towards the weights, but no, it ran out of screen, right? The other camera was able to track me and it still is. Okay, I want to go to the ground and show you plank. Nope, it won't do it. It can't pan down. So therein lied the whole reason that I was curious about this gimbal-based camera. As you can tell, it's just kind of trying to figure out what the heck to do, right? So let's go back to the Insta360 right there. Okay, so again, to demonstrate, I can get up, I can go over here. I can pretty much go out the room, right? I don't need to. And then again, if I want to go to the ground, bam, it's got me. So that's a huge perk, right? Huge perk. You can slow the speed down. I have it on normal for tracking. You can do whiteboard mode. I'm not going to talk about that. You can do zoom in, which is kind of neat. So I can zoom in. Cool. I can zoom back out. Pretty useful feature, especially if somebody else comes into the room. You have a guest on your presentation, your kiddo comes in a room and you want to show them off. In my case, our dog would come in the room and I want to show her off. So there's some good features right there. Now I'm going to show you what it sounds like with a good microphone. So let me go to, okay, now we have the microphone I would usually use. So now I have the Shure MV7 Plus microphone right here, coupled with the Insta360 Link camera. So this total investment is about 550 to 600 bucks. 250 for the camera, doesn't really change price. And this guy, I believe, is about 300 to 350, depending on when you find him. And it plugs right into the computer, so you don't need a digital interface like a Focus right, Scarlett Focusrite, or what I have here, a Tascam Mixcast 4 or a Rode Procaster. You don't need that with this microphone. You can just simply plug it in, USB-C to your computer, and you're good to go. My go-to microphone is usually the SM7B from Shure. That is the primo microphone that all the people use, the big podcasts. Tim Ferriss, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Peter Attia, and Joe Rogan. That's their go-to microphone. You probably see it in all the. That's like people brag about it because it is a nice microphone. But guess what? For a little bit less money, you can skip the interface and you can get this guy. And I did a comparison video on our YouTube channel a few months ago, just to compare apples to apples. And this one definitely does 99% of what you need to do without spending an extra $500 to $1,000 on interface cables and all that stuff, which I use because I learned the hard way. Okay, just for the heck of it, I'm going to show you one next step. So we saw the studio display. I'll show you that one real quick. I'll couple the studio display with the Shure microphone so you can see what it could look like, could sound like. Okay, Apple Studio display with this Studio or Shure MV7 Plus microphone. So here it is. This is what it looks like. It's a good setup, especially if you're just talking head and you're just looking right at the camera and not moving around. But if you are moving around and you're presenting, especially as a fitness professional or a teacher in some capacity, then you can see the limitations of this setup. You can go back to the Insta360 just for a moment. There it is. So it is a little more clear. Of course, this is all recorded through Zoom. I'm not going to auto enhance anything. I'm just as basic settings. Now, like I promised you, I'm going to compare it to the Sony Mirrorless Camera. Don't get mad. Don't get mad when you see this. You don't need this, but if you want to learn how to use this, I will show you. Okay, so here's a Sony mirrorless camera with a prime lens. It's a whole lot more going on, right? There's a whole lot more going on. This is a f1.6 at the moment. It's a Sigma 16 millimeter on a Sony ZV-E1 camera body. And this is what I use for the podcast, and I think you can probably see why. Blurred out the background. This is not software. That is, the background is blurred completely because of the lens. And the autofocus is awesome. Hey, we're talking about this Insta360 camera. It's crazy, right? Boom. No, it's the Sony ZV-E1. Sony's got the best autofocus. I love it. Okay, so this is the setup that I use for the podcast most of the time. You can see the microphone's just out of sight. That's how I do it, but still close enough to my mouth to get good quality. So again, now this setup, just to give you a baseline, about 1,000, maybe 1,200 for the camera and lens. And that's an APS-C camera. If you went full frame, which is what I use for most YouTube videos, you're looking at more like $3,000 setup just to get going for the camera and a lens, a prime lens, a cheap prime lens, honestly. But this Sony ZV-E1 or ZV-10, whatever the APS-C camera is, just stays right here for me. It's good. It's great. It's awesome, actually, for video. It looks great. I mean, you can see a lot of detail, more detail than I probably care to share, but I'm trying to make a teaching point here. And then the Shure microphone right here. That's the setup for the Engearment podcast. So all in, I guess in the camera, about 1,100, 1,200 with the lens, give or take, some cables. No need for anything crazy. I have a cam link going. That's an interface. You plug a HDMI cable in from the camera into the computer to then capture. It's called a capture card. I should have just said it's a cam link capture card. You can get cheap capture cards on Amazon for like 40 bucks. So you can get the cam link for 100 bucks on average. Well worth the cam link. It always works, never overheats. Just it's in line. You don't need power for it. It just goes. So digital microphone, camera, interface, done, that's it. But let's go back to the reason you're probably here, which is to see how does the Insta360 Link look? Looks good. How does the Insta360 sound compared? So I'm going to go away from the Shure and go back to, where is it? Insta. All right. Okay. Turn off that so you can see it's red. There's no audio coming from that guy. It's all coming from the Insta360 Link. In fact, I'll just get him out of the way. Okay, so hopefully this video showing some basic functionality on the Insta360 Link compared to the Apple webcam, compared to the Sony mirrorless camera was helpful. If it was, thumbs up, be appreciated. If you have any questions, and I hope you do, because a lot of stuff we covered in a pretty quick video here, I'd be happy to explain it in more detail, and hopefully it helps you guys all out with your presentations and your businesses. Again, put those questions in the comments below. If you have observations that I missed or something I don't know yet, or the audience doesn't know yet, feel free to teach us. Put that in the comments as well. I have more video and audio and microphone reviews coming up. If you want to see us, consider subscribing to the Engearment YouTube channel. I'm Sean Sewell, owner and director of Stoke for Engearment.com. Till next time, take care.